You just
No,
saved my butt. All right, perfect.
I
Those
always
should not
forget.
be the first words coming into the webinar. But sweet. Everyone, welcome to the webinar today. Oh wait, actually, my slides on this one now. There we go. Here. Uh, there we go. Ah, all right, let's get started. Oh, Rocco, welcome to the webinar. Everyone that's joining, thank you so much for attending. Oh, Caro's here. Caro Campos. Nice to see you, Caro. She's a friend of mine. Unless it's a different Caro Campos, in which case, weird. Um, Welcome to the webinar. Today we're going to talk about omni-channel, right? And we're the purpose of today is to really talk about how many ways can we reach consumers, right? Looking at this, we're talking about I'll be talking about multi-channel e-commerce, omni-channel e-commerce in Latin America, um, including Shopify, including your Amazon, your Mercado Libre, Coppel, Walmart. Like it's a mess down here. We're then going to have Paul talking about TikTok to Amazon, how to unleash your affiliate legion, which something that I need to learn infinitely, particularly for the market that I'm in. So I'll be looking out forward for that one. And then Rocco talking about maximizing our omnichannel ROAS with LTV bidding, which clearly much smarter the guy than myself is going to talk about topics much more complicated than what I'm going to talk about. So, we're in for a good ride. I'm going to get started first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. And I'm gonna ignore my slides. This is what I'm particularly good at, is not really going by what I've have written. Um, I'm gonna try to keep it to 10 minutes. And then we're gonna have questions if anyone wants to be asking the questions um in the question and answer box. This will be recorded, this will be uploaded to YouTube. Um, share screen here. But hey, let's talk about Latin America. And I'm gonna try to keep it to 10 minutes. God knows I can speak till the cows come home, but we're gonna, try to hold ourselves accountable. So I'm starting a timer right now. All right. We're going to talk about multi-channel, omni-channel fulfillment and existing here in Mexico for a very specific reason, and it's that you really have to be everywhere. Some key statistics about Mexico before I even get started, just to get you a little bit hooked. We are an economy that is currently under the process of being digitized. What I mean by that is uh, simple numbers like credit card adoptions up in the past 5 years is up 225%. We are largely a cash-based economy where only 11% of our sales are done through e-commerce. And I think those numbers are way, way, way off because there's a lot of gray market, non-accounted for market and retail that isn't really being accounted for. My personal estimate is considerably lower than that. Um, so what we're seeing here is a wild west of markets. We still have, in the US, you have Amazon and Shopify. In Mexico and Latin America, Mercado Libre is hugely massive, hugely massive. Interesting combination of words for places where people shop. And then you still have your your Walmart trying to kick in. And you have your local marketplaces, your Linio actually stepped out of Mexico, but Latin America in general. You have your Coppel, your Liverpool, local retailers that realize that they're early enough in the game to where they want to start their own channels. And what that's leading to is brands just not being protected. So we're taking this angle of existing omnichannel-ly, not so much from maximizing revenue, which it is absolutely the right way to maximize revenue, but to also make sure that consumers are having the appropriate um, experience with your product. So, can I go next? There we go. Hey, that's working. You guys can see the top bar though, right? I would rather really not have that. Oh well. Well. All right. Listen, Mexico's like any other market, right? In these cases, what do you need to really succeed omni-channel? First of all, you need uniform pricing. The consumers are going to shop around these more demand elastic countries like Mexico. We're absolutely price sensitive markets. We're absolutely looking for the best deal. So you need uniform pricing. And it is tough. I won't get into the details, but it is tough because different marketplaces charge differently, shipping differently, all this stuff. But on uniform pricing, which is something that resellers tend to step on step into a lot, really do make your job of convincing the consumer that you are trustworthy, make your job more difficult, right? You also want to make your life easier by having all your stuff in one place. This is pretty straightforward. Of course, you want to use your FBA, you want to use your Mercado Full, but listen, you need a central warehouse. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I talked to a lot of people that only have, oh, my stuff is in FBA in full, and I was like, okay, well, then you're leaving a lot of markets out of the space, or a lot of sellers are just selling to Mexico from abroad. You also don't want to do that. We'll talk about that in a second, but I've already burned through 4 minutes. Oh my God. All right. So what does omnichannel mean in Mexico? Listen, you have your Mercado Libre and you have your Amazon, your two big players in the market. You have your Walmart and your couple of significantly smaller marketplaces, but still existent. And one really interesting case that I like is Liverpool. Liverpool is the country's largest department store chain. It's I believe 127, 137 stores nationwide, and they have their own online marketplace, which comes with a ton of social trust from just existing on their marketplace because Liverpool wouldn't be selling you, n- subpar items, at least from a consumer standpoint, and also they're using online sales to gauge potential retail viability, as far as we understand it. So it's just a channel that you absolutely want to be on. Um, then of course you have your Shopify's, your WooCommerce, your personal e-commerce stores. Um, Here it's a little bit different than the US because here you really need to figure out the in-country traffic drivers and the in-country delivery solutions. Because if your conversion rate's already lower on Shopify than Amazon, for majority of sellers is, um, you don't want that to drop any higher, any lower. And of course, you have your brick and mortar retail. I'm going to try to speed through this. Now, this is my favorite part. Why do you have to be everywhere? Let me tell you a story. I was just telling Paul earlier. We um we work with a brand that sells their product for $25 in the US. This brand shall remain nameless, and they do not do wholesale. Now, what we're finding in Mexico, we're selling their items and we're finding that someone else is selling them at $20. Hold on, isn't that cheaper than the US? And then you could even get the product for. And then you go, wait, don't you have to pay marketplace fees? Don't you have to deliver the product? Don't you have to import it? Don't you have VAT 16% added to everything? So we figured it's either stolen or a knockoff, which is something that should be immediately alarming to every single brand that's hearing this, because this does happen. Someone is selling some version of your product that is not doing justice to your brand. Um, we try to order a unit to see, what could is this original? Like what's the import? Who's the importer on record? Like let's figure it out. And what we were met with was a beautiful, large adult toy. Um, I'm not gonna be too explicit here, but I have the video. I'm gonna post it on LinkedIn tomorrow because I think it's very funny. Uh, I felt the pride of the package. I was like, this is absolutely not um, what I ordered. And as I opened it, lo and behold, I was met with a very funny surprise. I was laughing on the video. But it made us realize once again how important the brand presence is in Mexico because it's the level of Wild West, the level of um, amateur sort of sellers that are handling your product that could be hurting brands long term, right? They sent it to us specifically because they knew that we were a rebuyer or because we were the official sellers and distributors. Um, but still, like this is the kind of level of people that are handling your product in country. Um, so as soon as we had to give this conversation, I was like, all right, I got to pivot. I got to talk about why you have to be on every single marketplace, and it's because you have no idea who's handling your products. You have no idea if they're selling counterfeits. You have no idea if they're shipping broken products, returned products, any of that. And ideally, I'm clipping. Okay, hopefully that's not too bad. Um, and ideally you have protection over that, right? um I'm running out of time, but I'm going to go a little bit further because we're only three people speaking today. um Uniform pricing is difficult, and this I'm just going to get a little bit into how you should execute. Uniform pricing is difficult. We run into this consistently. We deal with 5 marketplaces. You have Mercado Libre having more expensive shipping unless you have like specific requirements. You have Amazon FBA. Well, you have Amazon charging you that 15% differently than in the US with VAT. You have to account for VAT. There's a whole host of things that may make it more difficult to have uniform pricing. I'll say 2 things here. One, if you don't have uniform pricing and Amazon is more expensive than other places, we all know this. They'll take away your buy box, and that kind of hurts. So that's one incentive. But more importantly, like I said, consumers are comparison shopping across marketplaces. I have a piano right here that I bought from the most random website, like musics, whatever.com, because it was considerably cheaper than Amazon. And in this case, it was resellers, blah, blah, blah. We all do this. Um, just you have to make that a top priority. And the pricing cannot compete with your retail pricing because obviously you want to get into retail, cannot compete with your Shopify pricing. I understand the urge to say, well, we don't pay Amazon fees on Shopify. It doesn't matter. You have to be on there. Okay. Like we have to keep it uniform to have a successful omni-channel strategy. Um, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I don't want to go into much more details because I know I have like things about like Mexican e-commerce and things like that that are gonna be too hugely beneficial or like important. Um, if you can figure out your pricing and you can figure out your central inventory, just a place, a facility that can deliver on time, that can ship to FBA, that can ship to FBM. Sorry, ship to FBA, ship FBM, and the effect that that would fall through, ship to Mercado Full, and fulfill your retail POs. That is absolutely a top priority for ease of operations. Um, Too many smaller sellers are really just relying on FBA and Mercado Full. But if you want to make an expansion to any other geographic location, truly omnichannel and also truly work, you really have to have your bases covered. Work with the right partners that are handling your logistics for you in an easy way. I'm gonna cut it off there. I don't want to, that's 12 plus any Q&A time that we have. I'm gonna stop talking about all this other stuff. I love Mexican e-commerce. I love talking about mobile. I love about talking all this other stuff. But um, let's cut it off there. Guys, do we have any questions? Do we have any raised hands? We do not. Anyone want to step in?
You left us speechless, Ramiro.
I don't think so. Oh my God. I tend to just dump a lot of information, so hopefully.
Ramiro, I'm gonna ask you a question then.
Please.
Have you noticed a big difference in terms of average order value between Mexican consumers and American consumers?
Ooh, that's a good question. I love that. Um, here's how I'll answer this. Our first instinct when we launched this business was we have to find the more affordable options because we know, customer acquisition, disposable income, power of acquisition, like all these things. Um, that's in Spanish, poder adquisitivo, doesn't matter. We thought, okay, we're running into this price sensitive landscape. Like we have to, our average order value is going to be much lower. And you know what happened? We found that this race to the bottom in prices was getting us nowhere, and we were getting zero sales. And we were dealing with some really high quality products that we were trying to price as affordably as possible. And the Mexican consumer does not trust the cheapest option. In Mexico, we have a saying, el que compra barato, compra cada rato. He who buys cheap buys often. Um, it rhymes in Spanish, so it makes more sense. Um, and as we started introducing higher ticket items, our average order value started going up. So um, from a very strict standpoint, the average order value will be higher simply because we have to include VAT and we have to include shipping cross-border. What you have is a ton of sellers selling 40 to 50% higher to 400% higher on any given product just because they're resellers and they're scummy and they kind of suck. But even legitimate just shopping patterns do also show us that there's not that much difference between what a your Mexican market's about to willing to pay, and your American market's willing to pay. Does that answer the question?
Good answers. Yeah, it's interesting because when you do an omni-channel strategy, cost per acquisition is like critical, and
Mhm.
attribution, I would say, is probably also critical in what you do. And with the AOV, except all the taxes, of course, being slightly lower, it takes a little bit more to figure that out. But I would assume probably advertising costs are slightly lower, right?
80% lower as per the last statistic we got. It's
Yeah.
even like we're getting 80, 70 cent clicks on competed supplement markets. So that's the absolute dream when you're willing to pay. Like, I mean, I've been in protein and seen like $30 clicks.
Yeah.
And you're coming in here and paying, 25 peso, and you're like, oh my God. Um, yeah, but
There is a,
that's a wonderful
I
question.
think there is Sophia with the hand raised.
Sophia from Mexico City, my countrywoman. She says, I'm launching my own brand soon. What strategy would you suggest? Mercado Libre plus Amazon US plus Amazon Mexico plus Shopify. Is it possible with centralized fulfilling? Yes. Um, Sophia, I'll reach out to give you some pointers or some people to talk to. Um, Centralized fulfillment is absolutely what you want to do for Mexico. Now, for the US, you're going to want to get, if you're just doing Amazon US, it's fair to want to do just FBA. My personal opinion is you may incur, especially if you're shipping relatively soon, you may incur some gross storage fees from FBA. But yeah, Mercado Libre plus Amazon MX. I would try to go on Liverpool, Walmart, Coppel because it's very easy to sign up for, and they all connect to most 3PL warehouses here in Mexico. Um, yeah, but yes, you should have this 3PL, especially in Ciudad de Mexico. I have contacts over at Melon who are fantastic. I'll send them to you, um, so you can talk to them. And you know, is there software to handle omni-channel in Mexico? Oh boy, if you get me talking about how bad software is in Mexico, you'll have me here till no one else got time to speak. Um, I will send you some links through LinkedIn to what little tools we have, but it's gotten so bad that we've actually had to build our own sort of dashboards and tracking software. Um, Omnichannel in Mexico sucks uh, to run, but okay. I think that's gonna be my time. Um, Now, Paul, sorry to call on you, but your time has come. Please take it
Oh,
away.
thank you. Cool. So let me share my screen. Let me know when you can see my screen.
We can see your screen.
Okay, great. 1 second, I'm moving some things around. I know we have too many screens, so yeah, my apologies. So let's get started. So there we go. So okay, so now building an affiliate army right now is ridiculously easy if you're using TikTok Shop. And this is the secret weapon that pretty much all the big Amazon sellers are using. They don't talk about it, but they're definitely using it. And just so everyone knows, I run a newsletter and it's purely focused on how to use TikTok to grow your Amazon sales. Because I'm a long-time Amazon seller, kind of burnt by Amazon, bored of Amazon, and that's why I like TikTok and TikTok Shop because I try to use it in the best way possible to grow sales on Amazon. Now, my goal, and I really do mean this, I want to make you smarter than all the other Amazon sellers because we all know when we go to like an Amazon meetup, it's pretty much like a measuring contest to see what you know, who you know, and so on and so forth. So my goal here is to make you smarter than everyone else, and I'll show you the stuff right now. That a lot of Amazon sellers like to say they do this, but they don't, but their competitors do. So I will include white hat, gray hat, and black hat strategies. And the only reason I include this is because your competitors are doing this. I mean, I want to know this purely because I want to know what my competitors are doing. And this is exactly what they are doing. So the first thing is when starting your TikTok shop dream team, your affiliates dream team, always start on TikTok shop. Do that or just go home. I say this because in the TikTok shop, you get your own, well, in TikTok shop, there's the affiliate database, which is free to use. And there are over 170,000 affiliates on the platform to use. You can search for them by your niche, by how much they earn, and so on and so forth. So start here. Don't go looking around other affiliate platforms because the best is on TikTok shop. So then, when you do this, there are 4 metrics I always do in the searches. First of all, your niche. So let's say you sell in kitchen, the category will be in kitchen. And make sure these affiliates have at least 1,000 average views per video. You might get some really awesome affiliates, but their content never gets seen. Their content's great, but never gets seen. And then you have to rely on ads and no organic sales. So focus on affiliates that have 1,000 views on average per video. And then post rates. That's a big deal because when you deal with affiliates, they ghost you. There's no better way of putting it. I have a 20% ghost rate, meaning that 20% of the posts I send out, we never ever hear from those affiliates ever again. And it's annoying, but also TikTok has taken their own way of figuring out is that each affiliate, when they receive a sample, they have 30 days to post a video. If they don't do it, they get violation points and so on and so forth. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'll look for all the affiliates that have a very good post rate, meaning that once they receive the sample, they will likely create content. And then GMV, that's the last one. GMV is just another word for sales. So I want to purely target affiliates that have make good sales. You can set the GMV to like $100 per month, or 1,000, or 5,000, 10,000, and so on and so forth. So that's nice. That's a nice thing to do. But bear in mind is that if you target affiliate that makes over $10,000 per month, everyone's going to target them because they know how to sell. They really do. And the big thing is with affiliates and influencers, affiliates know how to sell, whereas influencers know how to look pretty. I say that because I think with my wallet all the time. And influencers, they create great content, but there's no ROI on the content. But there is with affiliates because they know how to sell. So if you're going to target the big affiliates, they have 10 to 50 to 100,000 plus in sales, then bear in mind everyone's reaching out to them. And a lot of the smaller affiliates actually create really good content. I've had more stuff go viral with smaller affiliates than bigger affiliates. Bigger affiliates, they like to think of themselves as the belle of the ball. So, but the small affiliates, they're more hungry and they will listen to your guidance and read your brief. The big affiliates, they think they're artists. So please bear that in mind because you have to seduce affiliates. Lead them with value, or they'll just read your message and pass it. And you'll get the 2 ticks, one of the 2 ticks on WhatsApp when someone reads your message but doesn't really reply. The same thing applies here. Because what you need to do is stroke their ego. And for me, that's really hard because these affiliates are really young and they think they know how to run a business. And it's really hard sometimes to stroke their ego when they're essentially a kid who thinks they know what to do. But do it because their content can change the trajectory of your business and give them a roadmap to success. That really means give them a brief. Most affiliates, I'm going to get flack for this, but most affiliates, I believe, can't read because I send them the brief like every single time. I send them the brief over and over again, telling them exactly what to do, saying do this, do that, and it doesn't actually. Sometimes they don't read it. A quick hack for that is when I send them a brief, I say, please do this, do that, and look at these other affiliates. They're earning really well. So put your spin on their content because money sells. If affiliates know what others are earning, they will think, wait a minute, I can create better content than this, so I will happily promote the product. And again, promise to make it rain. Offer and tell them if you work with us, you get more views because we'll boost your content through ads. You get more commission because you'll boost your content. So the affiliates love it because you're putting money behind their content. So they get more views, more commissions, more followers. They get everything because you are paying for it, and they love to see that. So make sure to say to them, listen, we can boost your content with ads, and then make sure when you communicate with them on the TikTok Shop database, tell them that you're going to email them and ask them for the Spark code. The Spark code basically means that they give you the Spark code and you can run their content as an ad. And Spark codes are the most effective ads. Excuse me. Spark codes are the most effective ads on TikTok. And what I do basically, I send each affiliate this type of brief. I tell them I think they're awesome, and I send them like just a Google Doc with as the brief, and then I ask them to can they please prepare the videos and so on and so forth. And bear in mind over here, it's not too wordy, but the thing is I try to keep it concise as possible. In this case, the affiliate replied, and actually they didn't just do one video; they did a bunch of videos because they want to work with us. Now, this is where it gets most brands don't do this. Like, now picture this: you've already worked with the affiliate, they love you already, they've given you their email address, you've told them you're going to email them. So then email is your secret weapon. And I say this because I run about 4 to 5 email newsletters for a bunch of different businesses. And in each of those businesses, it doesn't matter how big the email list is, but the email list is engaged. That's the same thing you need here because I use Instantly. It's a cold email software. I love it because it's kind of like the OG. It knows how to get around everything and just I can set it up and get going. And I send probably between 1,000 to a few thousand emails per week across those domains. And it works really well. The nice thing is we've told the affiliates we're going to email them. So we do email them. So when they get the email, they will open up that email because you told them we're going to email you because we want to work with you for the long term. And this email template, this is what I say to all the affiliates. I say, hey, first of all, make sure you offer or actually do personalization, meaning that you're not just saying hi, you're saying hi, Bob, or hi, Billy, or whatever the name is, because it shows that personalization, people love personalization. And they think that you really do care. You don't, but in this case, you do because their content can change your business. So we reach out to them over email, and this has a really good reply rate. And basically, this is all automated. So once I get the email address, I add the email address to Instantly, and all the sequences will go out. Now, here's where it gets a bit shady, and I included this only because this is exactly what your competitors are doing. They don't tell you, but because everything is done over email, you likely don't see what's actually happening. So often what I do is that I sign up to on the email to many of these brands just to see what they're offering. So first thing, you've got them hooked. You do. So now it's time to get them to work for your money because next stage is you're gonna turn this fling into a long-term affair. I mean that in every way possible. This and bear in mind is that these interactions start out innocent, but they can become a bit dirty, a bit black hat. So turn this fling into a long-term affair. So this is one type of email I do. I won't go into the exact email, but give you an overall breakdown. So we tell them that, listen, we really want to work with you, and tell them how much you want to work with them, and tell them you'll happily send them more products and higher commissions. And that's nice because if they know that they receive more products and bigger commissions than their friends, they think they are just extra special. And also, a bunch of brands I work with, what they do is they will send out, let's say, 500 samples per month. And of this 500, normally averages 450 will go nowhere, but there'll be 50, 10% of those posts. There'll be 50 posts that actually do perform really, really well. So then we approach those 50 We say to them, listen, can we hire you on a retainer level? We'll pay you $500 to $1,000 per month for you to create one video every single day. And we actually create it under an additional TikTok profile, which we own. So if they ever do ghost us, which happens, then we still own all the content and own the profile. This is great because if you had, let's say, if you had 30 affiliates turning out content one per day, that essentially will be your content on autopilot. And bear in mind, you can use all this affiliate content in your Amazon ads and your Amazon posts. We all know Amazon posts don't make many sales, if any, but we don't really push them too hard because we need content, but now you do. So if you work with more affiliates to work with, the more content you have, the more you can use on TikTok posts and Amazon ads. The next email is a competitor takedown. So I mean this in the best possible way. You need to reverse engineer your rivals on TikTok. And by just doing 5 to 10 minutes of work, you can see who your competitors are. You can see who their best affiliates are. So then I approach the affiliates and say, you know what, would you mind creating a video saying, wow, my product is better than that one you did? I'll give you a higher commission rate and so on and so forth. And affiliates are not loyal. They really aren't. The only thing they think about is money. So if they can create a good video saying why your product is better than the others, it works really, really well for you. And again, what I really do love is, let's say your competitor, one of their videos go viral. What I'll do then, I will, in my brief, which I'll get on an average month, we do about 500 samples per month with affiliates. So of those 500 people reach out to, we say, hey, this content, the competitor content, worked really well. The competitors earned, the affiliates earned this much. You can see this, it's all public knowledge on TikTok, but no one really looks into it. So we tell them, can you put your spin on this content? So then you're using your rival's best content and creating anywhere between a few hundred videos exactly like competitor. And that's great. And that's good because you simply just reverse engineer your best competitors and then just take them down in the nicest way possible. The next thing is again, this is completely black hat, but because it's all done over email, a lot of brands do this and you're not aware of this. So we asked affiliates, could they please buy the product on Amazon? I say to them, listen, we out of stock on TikTok shop. Would you mind searching for this product? And we say like baby blankets or whatever the keyword is, main keyword. They'll go find on Amazon, and we tell them, listen, we'll pay you, we'll reimburse you, and we'll give you extra money for the trouble. Bear in mind, these affiliates want to make us happy as hell. So they're happy to go through the extra trouble, and most of them wouldn't even care to go buy on Amazon. And again, this is search find by rebates. It is black hat against the rules. It never used to be, but it is now. If you don't feel happy, then just skip us out. But bear in mind, this is exactly what your competitors are doing. They're building a big affiliate army and then pushing traffic to their Amazon store, to the Walmart store, to a Shopify store to get those sales. Against the rules, but it works. The next thing is the exact same thing. We're going to ask them for a 5-star review. We say to them, listen, please, your opinion would mean the world to us and would help other shoppers make a good decision. Would you mind leaving us a review on Amazon and TikTok Shop? Because these affiliates want to make us happy, they will give you their honest opinion, but that's not really honest. They will give you a 5-star review no matter what, because they want to keep making you happy. Again, against the rules, but your competitors are doing it, so I'll leave it up to you to decide. So let's recap this. We've gone over and I've spoken way too fast, but we've gone over and discussed how to find your best affiliates on TikTok Shop. And we then tell you, I showed you how to slide into their DMs, what type of messages to send them, and so on and so forth. And then we use some creative strategies using email. which your competitors are currently already using. I've said that a few times, but you'll be surprised when you find out how many of the competitors are using this. So your next move, play it safe, dip your toe, or just go all in. Or any of these options up to you. But please, I recommend just make sure to email these clients and email these affiliates and start building your affiliate army. It's literally the best thing you can do. And if you did this a year or two ago, right now you would have a few thousand affiliates at least, which you can just push traffic to your listings. And right now, myself, I'm building my own affiliate platform. We're building it for a few weeks, and literally, I'm using it to point traffic to certain listings on Amazon. Sometimes I've even pointed to do like black hat strategies. We can do that because it's all done over email, and no one really knows. And also, as it's done over email, and affiliates don't really read too much, you can be vague and still get the job done. So, if any questions, please let me know. And if you go to my website, you get my newsletter. Anyone and everyone that signs up, we give free access to 2,000 TikTok Shop affiliates, influencers, all their details, so you can contact them at will. And that's about it from me. Any questions? Happy to answer.
I mean, first let's go through I have so many questions.
Go
Sophia
for it.
Tejas is asking, how many affiliates do you need to see an actual impact on your sales, in your opinion?
On which platform? On TikTok Shop or on Amazon?
I would imagine she's asking TikTok Shop, Sophia, if you wanna. Oh, she said TikTok, yeah.
Oh, cool. So on TikTok, generally, I recommend TikTok Shop is a game where quantity exceeds quality. So the more content you have, the better you will perform. For a lot of the brands, I recommend at least 500 videos per month or 500 samples per month. And bear in mind, on TikTok Shop, your samples replace your cost of PPC on Amazon. So look at it that way. And also is that bear in mind is that your samples are effectively free. So you're getting free content. And I did a webinar a few weeks back where it showed you that let's say you did 500 samples. That would be just 500 times your COGS, which is cost of goods sold, so that's fine. But let's say you use an affiliate platform, it will be $500 times $100 per video. That's $50,000. So it does get expensive. Right now, using TikTok Shop is the cheapest and the best way forward. But again, I would recommend it's not a cheap platform to get started. I would recommend anywhere between 300 to 500 samples per month. And then bear in mind, only 5 to 10% will pick up if they do. And sometimes they don't. Have some clients that have sent out almost 2,000 samples and they still have not had big sales, but at least they're close to making 10K per month on TikTok Shop. So it varies per product, per brand.
Okay. All right. Sophia, we will get to your next question. Paul, that was a great answer. I am seething with jealousy here because we don't have TikTok Shop in Mexico yet. And it was supposed to launch this summer from rumors, and then it hasn't, and then it's 2025 because and I mean, I spend too much time on TikTok every single day,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's like I want to be able to buy through there and sell through there mostly. But I liked a couple
What
things.
I did, I'll just add on that is that Mark, I have two kids, they're aged 6 and 9, and I said to them, guys, listen, I deal with these affiliates that earn 6 figures per month. I want you guys to start paying rent. So I made my 6-year-old and my 9-year-old affiliate accounts, and I'm trying to get them to pay rent. And it's not going well. But what's crazy is they learned how to request samples really quickly, and
Oh,
they are making me look so cheap because I didn't buy them anything, but they're getting some really awesome samples.
I'll be honest, if the copy around the outreach is my dad won't buy me anything, can I get a free one?
Yeah, exactly.
So good. Oh man, I love so much that you brought up. I love that you said that affiliates are not loyal. It reminded me of Dave
Yeah.
Chappelle saying, I've done ads for Coke, I've done ads for Pepsi. All I know is Pepsi paid me more recently, so it tastes better." Like that was, I think that's exactly that vibe.
Hmm.
I have a question for you, Paul.
Yeah,
from
go for
my
it.
standpoint, which is say you don't have access to TikTok shops. We're very interested, and and Mexican sellers are going to be very interested in how can I drive. And I think this goes along with what Sophia's saying about she wants selling on live TikTok and so on. Say I don't have access to directly TikTok shop. Would you recommend still building an affiliate legion, but sending everyone to Amazon?
I would always recommend it. The one thing though, people need to bear in mind, if you want to sell, if you want to open up your brand on TikTok Shop, let's focus on just the US for now. In order to sell there, the first thing they look at are, do you have a US entity? Or do you have a US business? That's the first thing. And I have a few EU brands that are on TikTok Shop, and clearly they created a US entity and business to handle that. That's the first thing sorted. The second thing is they need a representative for a company, someone that's based in the US, passport, driver's license, and social security number. So what a lot of these EU brands, what they do, they just hire a college graduate for their details. They pay them a few $100, get their access details, and submit that, and that's all good. And then, as far as I know, I could be wrong here, or maybe TikTok hasn't caught on yet, but that representative is meant to be held liable for tax, but they're not. I haven't heard anyone being liable for any tax on TikTok as the representative, but it works. So right now, a bunch of brands they're creating entities on in the US, and then just hiring representative on Craigslist or whatever, and then just having them being the representative on TikTok Shop.
Awesome. I mean, I think that answers both my questions and Sophia's. Paul, thank you so much. Is there anything you'd like to
Cool.
add before Rocco takes over?
The only thing I would say is that I've been on Amazon for 15 years and I'm bored of Amazon, but TikTok Shop is just a breath of fresh air and it feels like Amazon before FBA. And right now you can get away with a lot of things like you could on Amazon before FBA. So anyone that wants to jump in, now is the best time, especially as Q4 is going to be huge on TikTok Shop. And yeah, I recommend try to do as much as you can. If you can't, at least you know it's on your peripheral.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love this inefficient markets, new markets where you get to
Yeah,
figure
exactly.
stuff out rather than follow coloring like numbers. So beautiful. All right. Rocco is gonna close us out with he's gonna teach us how to maximize our omni-channel ROAS with LTV bidding. Rocco.
So much, Ramiro. Thank you, Paul. It was a great presentation. I loved it. I'm gonna cover something a little bit different, guys. I'm gonna talk about something that we at Shirofune believe is a must-have for every commerce. But before getting there, I'm going to do a small presentation. It's going to be very small, very simple, but I think is going to help us understand what e-commerce should do. But before getting there, there are a lot of bad e-commerce in the market. A lot of bad e-commerce. Why? A lot of websites, they get a sale. They look at new repeat users as if there is no difference, and they have a total transaction in place, which is what they made in a specific month. Now, this is literally a short-term view. You're just looking at a snapshot in time of your company, and you calculate your ROAS. This is the worst thing possible for somebody trying to build a sustainable business. Why is that? Because in reality, what happens to businesses is that there are two types of transactions: transactions from new users and transactions from existing users. The transaction from the existing users, I'm happy, I'm going to leave them there for a second. But let's look at the new users. This is the first time buyer, first transaction. And in general, people keep buying again from a business. Depending on the business, they can purchase 4 to 10 to 12 times in the lifetime of the user. Now, this lifetime value is what really matters when it comes to e-commerce. Why is it what it really matters? Is because if you don't optimize by lifetime value, you're essentially forgetting about everything else that comes with your business. And that's when you do ROAS calculations. I'm going to ask you to you, Ramiro, to not bother everybody on the call. Let's say you have two campaigns. Campaign A has a CPA, cost per acquisition of $71 and a net revenue of $19. Campaign B has a cost per acquisition of $30 and a net revenue of $60. where would you put your money?
Dude, I hate that you're making me answer this because I know that it should be, but it's like one of these times where it's like the answer's too obvious. I'm like, is
Oh,
there a catch?
you're only as smart as the information you're given.
Yeah, that's true.
So with this information, I would invest on campaign A. I think anybody in a normal, campaign B,
Yeah.
anybody in a
Oh
normal
my God.
mindset will say that.
See, I got scared because you said an A, and I was like, oh my God, I got it
Oh,
wrong.
I
You
wanted
see,
to see if
like,
you were paying attention. But let me add a little bit more data to this table, right? Same table until here, but now we have ordered value. It's 90 for both. Campaign A has 7 purchases in the lifetime of the users. Campaign B has 4 purchases in the lifetime of the user. So within 12 months, Campaign A generates $559 in net revenue. Campaign B $330. Now our mindset is completely switched because we will put more money where we were paying more in CPA. The power of lifetime value is that it allows you to grow long-term profitability of the business without being narrow-minded and focusing on what long-term would have brought us $330. The reason why I have this very simple table is because people get confused with lifetime value, but essentially what you're looking at is you cannot calculate the ROAS for an e-commerce focusing on a one-time transaction. Of course, unless you sell maybe a house. I guess a house you buy it one time. Maybe in 30 years or 20 years you change your house, right? Not even car manufacturers should be using a one-time transaction model, because what happens in 3 years? Are you gonna try to upsell the customer? Which ones are the customers that are gonna buy a second car from you and give your first car back? So everything is about lifetime value of the user. LTV calculations are a must. And that also applies to Amazon, by the way. You guys were talking about Amazon, a TikTok shop. I would rather pay more to acquire a customer that lasts longer for the company that pay less to have instant gratifications, but you're never gonna take your business off the ground. Typical example of a company that use lifetime revenue modeling is Amazon itself. They were unprofitable for 10 years. That's literally looking at the long-term approach, because you're going to have a lot of retention of those customers. Temu is another company that uses lifetime modeling to grow their business. But I'm going to show you a table a little bit more complicated now. This is a real case scenario where the clients wanted a ROI calculation, return on investment. So Facebook costs for September were nearly $8,000. Another advertising platform was costing them $500. Email marketing was costing them $3,400. Advertising management was costing them $10,000 a month. SEO was costing them $15,800 a month, for a total spend in marketing of $37,649. They got $19,000 in sales, with an increase of 34% compared to August. Now, let's look at what happened in September. 48.22% of the buyers were new users, 52 obviously were repeat users. Total orders 243, new orders 117. Now, if we look at the last table, we are looking essentially at the new buyer value of $10,378. The net only of the ads was 1,929. If you are a company that doesn't look at growth, it would be like I spent 37,000 right here, and I made 19. I'm doing something wrong. We know for this company, on average, they get 6 purchases every time from every new customer they acquire. In reality, in a year time, the new buyer value is not going to be $10,000. It's going to be $62,268. Effectively doubling the money they made in the investment in marketing. So although they paid for a new user $321, they're going to make $531.42 for them, with a net per user of $209.63. And that's why a lot of large e-commerce companies, they say they are in the loss when they start marketing, because this is a new brand, as a matter of fact, because you need to have the capital to sustain yourself for the first year for those repeat purchases to happen. But this client was profitable in September because you're looking at the new user you acquired and how much money they generated. With that said, why did I explain all of that? At Shirofune, the company I work with, we understood it long time ago that there is no way to even manage anything that is not lifetime value, because you want to see the company profit grow over time. You want to see it grow over time by optimizing budget and bids, not on a monthly gratification, but using this data to be like, which campaign is bringing me the most revenue in 12 months. And that's all we focus on for e-commerce when it comes to making sure the profitability is there. As I promised, I kept the presentation short, but I think the point came across looking at some real numbers of how e-commerces should start thinking about their businesses.
I mean, it really did. And I think this is something that, I worked for an agency for a long time and dealing with clients for a long time. It's tough to sell, I think. And I think, how would you, if I'm coming into a conversation, I'm like, hey man, listen, this campaign short term has worse results, but long term it's going to have better results. Like in Amazon, it's not going to be the same thing, but in Amazon we can think about it from the keyword standpoint of like, hey, this is going to get us ranking, which long term is going to get us better organic results, better organic sales, and it's going to give us long term. It's tough for a lot of sellers to think in the way that you're asking them to think. How do you approach these conversations?
Well, if somebody approaches me, let's say you are selling, I don't know, I have a bottle of water here, right? Like this bottle of water, once I'm drank, I'm done with it. I need to buy another one. If a seller doesn't understand that, they shouldn't be selling, essentially. That's the point. And we only deal, as a matter of fact, with brands that have an understanding of how the market works, right? Because
Beautiful.
it's not that we are trying to find an excuse, right? But it just makes no sense if you have data not to read what the data is telling you. Essentially, the data is telling you that, for example, the users that come from a specific keyword, they buy more times from you. You need to be able to look at that, because otherwise you're in the transactionalist business. You should sell real estate, right? You sell the house and it's done.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the kind of things you need to sell. But I've never met a smart digital marketing manager that doesn't understand that and doesn't want to use that, which then goes into the topic of attribution. Are you keeping your attribution in place for your business? Because if you don't know where the sales are coming from, how do you build a lifetime model? But essentially, yeah, like if somebody tells me I don't understand this, I would probably suggest them not to sell, because a lot of the products you guys sell on Amazon are dirty cheap. And some of them people buy over and over again. So the secret is not in the one-time transaction, but in the what Amazon calls subscriptions, right? But to me, I prefer to buy every time I need it. So for example, I have a rabbit, I buy bedding for the rabbit. I bought bedding probably 12 times in the last year from the same seller because I like bedding.
Yeah.
I bet the first time I bought it, it didn't make much money over me, but then it made it,
Yeah.
over time.
I mean, that's exactly it. And I think Amazon doesn't make it too easy to pull, cost of customer acquisition, the actual attribution. It makes it a little difficult, but once you're getting into that data, which you can, um, Rocco, like I love the way you're thinking about this because I think it's something that every seller should be um, having top of their mind. Do we have any questions from the attendees? Rocco, no, you left them speechless.
No, I
There
think
you go.
my accent must be that. Next time I will try in Spanish.
Let's do it. Next time in Spanish. Oh man. Sweet. That's wonderful. Rocco, thank you so much. Paul had to step out, but Sophia says, I'd love a longer class from you, Rocco. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go. That's the
Thank you,
answer.
Sophia. I'm gonna
Sophia.
send you the $50 later. Thank you, Sophia.
Sophia, the absolute GOAT attendee at this podcast. Like she is so dialed in and asking all the right questions. Thank you so much for joining. And to everyone, thank you so much for joining. I think she says she's taking notes. Yeah. Um, Thank you so much for joining. This will be posted on YouTube. So we can go back. I'm for sure gonna go back and I'm actually, even as you were speaking, Rocco, I'm thinking, I'm like, I need to have my team listen to these conversations. So I'm just gonna go ahead and send those out. Um, no, absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything you'd like to say before we
I'd like to thank
bounce?
everybody from joining. If you guys are interested in learning more about us, you can go on shirofune.us. And thank you again for taking the time. Thank you, Ramiro, for putting all of this together. And I hope all the other speakers that couldn't make it because there was a hurricane in Florida. I was lucky
Yeah.
enough to be on the southern part of Florida. I hope you guys are doing well, and if you're listening in, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully everything goes well. Rough spot to be in. And everyone, thank you for joining. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Bye
Bye.
bye.